This actually is a kind of an interesting segue, but did you guys see that there were some images leaked of a Batman game that got quickly deleted?
What?
From
I didn't see
is
any
it
of
is a new Rocksteady game?
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, interesting. Because I'd heard they kept the license. I'd seen like those fake screenshots that came out about a Superman game in the past. I got really excited.
Why are they going back to the well on Batman?
The images are for a Court of Owls.
I heard the rumors about that.
And it would be the next incarnation of the Arkham series. Yeah.
I mean, that's cool, I guess.
They want to do Nightfall.
I mean, you guys know me. Like, I'm not like
a huge Arkham Knight guy. I kind of got my fill of
that studio and like their kind of take on Batman after Arkham Knight. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, let's see what you guys do next. Like, and I'm like, there was like, rumors that they were going to do Justice League or Superman. I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, see what you could do there. Like, I don't know. Like, doing another Batman game just seems very safe. And like, I kind of want to see something new from them.
For the longest time, people were thinking that they were going to make a TMNT game, which I was hoping for.
Ooh, that'd be so good.
God, that reminds me.
I would love that.
I forgot I have that Platinum Turtles game on my PlayStation.
Oh, right. They made one of those.
Yeah, I heard it got like really mixed reviews because I think that came out towards the end of my tenure at GameStop.
Yeah, that's one of those games for sure.
Yeah, like it wasn't like Platinum's like A team, because they were busy doing like, Bayonetta 2 or something.
Isn't it like a side scroller?
I thought, weren't they working on like a Transformers game at the same time?
Yes.
Was it the Devastation game?
Fuck yeah, I would love a new Transformers game.
They did Transformers Devastation, and then they did the next year they did. Oh, they were working on Star Fox Zero and the Turtles Mutants in Manhattan game.
Well, I don't know. I think the Batman kind of, the way that game is made, you can look at the Spider-Man game and it's kind of, you could do that with a lot of characters. But I don't know. There were things in that Arkham Knight game. I wish there was co-op where someone could be like Nightwing or Robin with you and you could play online.
Yeah, I was just, I was just kind of tired of like, they're kind of like it was just like, it was a good game.
It was the same game.
Yeah, like, it's like I wasn't like super fond of like how they wore their voice for like Barbara or Ivy or Harley or Dick or really like anyone else. Like their Penguin's cool. Like I kind of got tired of like their Joker by that point. I was like,
I actually think I like their Bane.
Yeah.
And especially I know Origins, people give Origins a lot of crap. I actually like the idea of him from Origins, and then he becomes the Bane in the other games. I think it's interesting.
It's a very interesting take on the character. Like he did that to himself.
Yeah, it'd be really, really cool if they did because I mean, like the Tom King stuff kind of has me loving Bane again. After DC doing that character very dirty.
I'm a big Bane fan because he's one of the few kind of big name Hispanic villains that's like kind of got notoriety.
Well,
yeah, it's a shame that they won't cast a Hispanic character or
no,
Hispanic
they did one time, and it's the worst version. Because Batman and Robin is like the little tiny guy is a Hispanic guy, but then he's not allowed to talk.
God, at least like Bane in that movie looks like Bane. He's got the luchador mask. He's got the tubes coming out of the back.
What's sad is that is really the best version of Bane that we've gotten.
It is, and I don't like Tom Hardy as Bane, but I think it's funny. Like I think it's funny to watch.
I think he's an amazing actor. I just think it is like people just want to ignore the fact that like that's not Bane, and then they once again basically at the end of that movie make him into a kind of like muscle.
Nobody.
he's a nobody. He's just a muscle, and like Batman solves the problem by punching him in the face more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
I feel like that's also like the new 52 Bane. Like when it's like you have this really great, like sweet, sincere Bane in Secret Six by Gail Simone.
Oh, that's
then-
actually like I really like that version.
And then you have like the new 52 happen, and he shows up in the Dark Knight, and he's just big, dumb, hulking Bane again. And it's just like, this is what the new 52 was for? This is what I had to... This is why they canceled Secret Six for?
Well, I actually do like he's kind of becoming like the big bad in like the big overarching Tom King Batman story.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for... Like, and I'm reading Batman in trade right now, and I heard there was like a... Like, and I follow Tom King on Twitter, so I kind of just see, like, you know, stuff that's been happening, and I love that the latest issue has Professor Pig.
Yes,
that's like one of my favorite new Batman villains.
Yeah, I read it weekly, but I have not read that issue yet.
Are you talking about issue 62?
Yes, the one that came out last week.
Yeah, because it just has Professor Pig holding a machete. Yeah,
well, there's like 4 different covers. That's one of them. That's also one of the books that we can get into. One of the other stories was...
sorry, not a machete, a meat cleaver.
It has one of the alternate covers that Frank Miller drew.
My hope is like if someone's writing, if he's writing Professor Pig, that's like, oh man, maybe like Don Flamenco or like or the Flamenco or like Dr. Hurt shows back up.
Although you did say that's another character I really like, the Arkham version of Professor Pig.
Oh yeah,
he's creepy as hell.
Wait, which one is he in?
It's Knight, I believe.
Weird, I didn't find him.
Yeah, he's like one of the only newer like Batman villains in that game. Like I think Anarchy is in that game, but like
Anarchy's in that game. Anarchy, Hush, Professor Pig.
Oh, Hush was in that game.
Yeah, they teased him in the second game, and then he shows up in the third one.
Yeah, they don't really do Hush too much justice, but
yeah, because I think there's way too much lore. Almost,
yeah,
to
Hush
like
is definitely one of those indebted characters. Like,
yeah,
he's just
the only thing about Arkham Knight that just still is stuck with me over the years is just me just gliding around the city. And then just nearly shitting my pants when
Man-Bat.
When Man-Bat.
Oh, that's another great design in that game too.
Yeah.
God, what if like the next Batman game just has the main villain be Barbatos?
Oh my god, from Metal.
Awesome.
That's a good segue, John. So one, I'll just say quickly, the second issue, the Batman Who Laughs, comes out this week, tomorrow, and I'm going to be picking that up. But
me too.
If you look in here, John, the Diamond released their top selling comics of 2018, graphic novels, and then the publishers. The Batman Who Laughs, it was the number 9 highest selling issue.
And that book came out like
a couple
months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Dark Knight Metal was number 9, the hardcover edition.
Yeah, although, I'm looking at these top 10 comics, and they're all like other than like the Batman Who Laughs, like they're all like big seminal issues.
Yeah, we were talking about before we start recording. They're all either number.
That up.
Yeah, they're all. Alan says like they're all number 1s, or they're all like a number, like a round number, like Batman 50, Action 1000,
and they're all blank variants.
Yeah, I personally like the blank variant. I own a couple. They look really cool.
I I never got like the appeal of a blank variant unless you lived around a convention.
Yeah, well, that's what I would have it, and then so like I know I have the one for the Batman and the Max, and if I go to a convention knowing that, oh my god, I'm blanking on the name right now. That drew the Max. And you guys are not helping.
I don't know, man.
I know.
I'm
Max
sorry.
Comic?
Yeah, the Max. Who drew the Max?
The Max.
Yes.
By Sam Keith?
Yes, Sam Keith. Yes, he does the art in that book.
Yeah.
So I got the blank cover. So like, I feel like he's someone I could possibly run into at a con.
Oh yeah, and if you brought like a blank variant of the Max, like he'd be like more willing to like do something for that than like,
well,
hey, I have this blank Batman variant. Can you draw some Batman on it?
Yeah, well, it's the Batman and the Max, so like it's like
okay,
yeah. And he's doing it's like a mini series. I think they're 3 into 6. 6 seems to be the number DC likes to do for the like mini series.
I cannot understand how like Amazing Spider-Man 799, 800, 798 are like so high up here. Like, because I couldn't tell you a person that was reading that book. Like, and I'm online with people, and like, I just didn't hear anyone talk about that last arc of Spider-Man.
Because that's like Carnage Goblin.
Yeah, which is just like, oh, it's like, what if Norman Osborn was the Green Goblin in Carnage? It's like, yeah, no thanks, Dan Slott. I'll show up when Nick Spencer starts writing this shit.
Well, that's like the Marvel thing now. It's like, what if like Weapon X made like a Hulk variant, or Venomverse, or
Project H is so dumb. It's like, what if he was the Hulk and he had like Wolverine claws and also healing factor? I'm like, oh, so he basically just has Wolverine claws.
Yeah, because Hulk already has the healing factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, which you know that the next step is they give him the symbiote. So then he's like,
yeah.
So then he get a web swing with claws and Hulk.
I'm excited to kind of see like how well. Like I haven't been looking at numbers because again I don't work at a store anymore, so I don't really have my finger on the pulse of how well a book is selling. But like Amazing Spider-Man #1 was the number 5. Or the 5th highest selling book of the year, and I'm kind of like wondering like what the numbers for that book are currently right now. Because I think that book is still like really good, and it's like the most fun I've had with Spider-Man since Superior, and I'm kind of like wondering if that audience has like kind of kept up with that book.
See, I feel like if you look at these books, especially if you look at like the graphic novels, like I feel like some of these are being helped by the movies, and then some of them are being helped by.
Well,
like,
number 1 is.
Yeah, number 1 is definitely on the graphic Infinity Gauntlet, but I think
Infinity Gauntlet's always been like a real hot seller though. Like
I'm shocked.
Here's the thing about like DC is like DC has like like a lot of like a lot of books that are just super must reads. It's like that like everyone kind of knows. It's like your Batman Year Ones, your Crisis,
Infinities, your Crisis.
Like a lot of just, like a lot of like really great seminal work. And then like for Marvel has like a lot of really good runs. Like they got like Daredevil, you got your X-Men and stuff like that. But like, Marvel doesn't like it's very rare for Marvel to have a book on the level of like Watchmen or Year One. Like Infinity Gauntlet, it's one of those. Like at a time like Squadron Supreme was kind of like one of those books, but like because they don't have like those characters show up anymore except for Hyperion, like Squadron Supreme is not as big as it used to be. But like Marvel doesn't really kind of have like a big like you gotta read this book,
I think they try. It just hasn't. They've swung and missed a lot on their big crossovers. I think Civil War might be. Is that like the next big thing?
Yeah, I think like the
first one.
I think Civil War, like Ultimates used to be one, but I think time has not been kind to Ultimates in the same way that like I don't think Civil War still pushes numbers. Same with Planet Hulk, kind of, but like Civil War has. I don't think the passage of time is kind to that book at all. And I think like as time goes forward, like people will be like kind of looking back on that book in like more of a negative context.
Right. I think this actually list like shows like how big like Image has 5 of the top 9 trade paperback or like graphic novels sold.
Yeah,
3
man.
Sagas, Walking Dead, and Paper Girls.
Well, all of them except for Walking Dead is a Brian K. Vaughan book. And then also like look at Saga though. It's Saga like 9, 8, and 1. So it's just like like Walking Dead 29, like you look at that and you're like, oh, like the newest Walking Dead trade, you know, is selling. You know, and if you did like 20, 30, like you'll probably see like Walking Dead #1, but it's like, you know, you don't really have like, you know, people like getting into it on the ground level anymore. Like, because I also think like it's on volume 29, so it's like at this
I
point,
think it talks to like Saga is like the like greatest cult, like I don't know if like a cult movie is kind of like a good representation, but like everyone talks about Saga except for in like mainstream media, like because it's a book that basically cannot be made into like anything. I know they keep talking about wanting to make it into
HBO original.
You could make it into an animated film, but like I don't think like we're
live action.
Like,
I mean, yeah,
I don't think we are quite there yet with like having adult animated features being, you know, financed by major studios.
Hey man, back in the 90s, they did that Spawn cartoon. It only lasted like 9 episodes, but
oh yeah, like we had like, you know, we've had stuff like, you know, Fritz the Cat and Heavy Metal and Cool World, but it's like those were not a big of a success as like, you know, young animated family features.
No,
and
the ones that are not American also, like they're all Japanese anime crossover things,
or French.
Or French, yeah.
Oh yeah, the French.
Like an anime feature I saw this year that I thought was really cool. That was based off of a if I'm remembering right, it's a French comic that was animated by a Japanese studio, and was called Motherfuckers.
Oh, I heard about this.
It's like shortened to MFKZ. It's like good, not great, but it's like interesting, you know, and fun. But yeah.
I would definitely. That sounds interesting because like comic books, I think more than like TV or movies, like kind of are quick, like real in depth, like representation of kind of like counterculture in many ways.
And I'd be like really kind of interested to know, like, you know, how studios are perceiving the success of Into the Spider-Verse. You know, as like, oh hey, we can do big budget superhero animated films, but then like also it's like at the same time, like, you know, like they've been trying to do a Chew film for a while, and they were trying to do it as an animated film, but they were like, like I don't think this would like really, you know, like I don't think like we get our like, money back.
It's the same author that did Fight Club, right?
No, you're thinking of something else. Chew is done by Bob Guillory, and
he must have a book that has a very similar title.
John Layman.
John Layman. But yeah, Chew is the book about the guy who like he eats food and he knows like basically like how it was like grown, or like if he'll eat like a burger, he'll know like how the cow was raised and how it was killed and all that stuff. And it's set in a world where poultry is illegal because there was like this huge like poultry flu that killed a bunch of people, and it went on for like 60 issues. It's really good. I feel like it's a book that like kind of ended and people kind of stopped talking about it because it's like, you know, it's not like a monthly issue, but like Chew is great. And they've been trying to do an animated feature for a while, and then it just kind of didn't go anywhere because like adult animated features are not selling. But hopefully, like with Into the Spider-Verse, I think it's like, hey, we can make something like super kind of weird, and audiences will show up for it.
I just watched that last night, and it's like, yeah, but they also have an amazing art style. Like the cast is preposterous. Like, they have an Academy Award winner, at least one, and doing a very small part. And like, it was gorgeous as well. I was thinking of Choke. That is the book.
Oh yeah,
Chuck Palahniuk.
Chuck Palahniuk.
Palahniuk.
Yeah, he's the guy who did Fight Club.
Yes, which we were talking about. They announced that they're doing a Fight Club 3 comic.
Did you ever see the movie for Choke?
No. I remember it because it's about S&M and stuff, right?
It
sort of.
It came out in the last 2000s. Like, yeah, it's like it's basically about like a guy who like fakes choking at restaurants to get like free shit. And like this, yeah, and then it's like this weird S&M thing. Like I saw it, I think it came out in like 2008, 2009, like a long time ago. I remember kind of liking it, and it had Sam Rockwell in it.
Yeah, okay. I remember him. I remember the author. I'm not going to try to Chuck doing like the kind of like early podcast circuit back in that time. It was interesting. Like he does weird shit. Do we want to continue on with like news stories and then get into what we've been reading?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's bang that out then.
Okay. The biggest thing I guess to talk about that we'll start off first is today they dropped the Far From Home teaser trailer for the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming. And holy crap, there's like a bunch of teases. I love the design of Mysterio.
Yeah.
He looks goddamn fantastic.
He looks like a Roman legionary.
It actually reminds me of the style of the Kryptonians in Man of Steel.
Okay. Okay.
Like the way his armor is set. And I kind of like, my one friend commented in the Phantom Zone that he thinks that he's doing a syndrome thing, which I was like, ooh, that is a perfect way to lead into this character. Yeah.
I think he's definitely like leading on Hydro Man or whatever.
Well, I think that, and I mean, like, I saw that comment too, and I was just like, he was like, oh yeah, like, I knew they were gonna do this. I'm like, oh, you mean that thing that Mysterio does? Where,
yeah.
Like, he does illusions?
He's not to be trusted? Yeah.
But it is like the perfect way to introduce that character.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I think it's like, how long has Mysterio kind of been around? Like, you know, because like how much time has progressed since Endgame? Is that the
I think it's Endgame. So Endgame is this summer, June,
April.
Fuck.
Okay, and then Far From Home will be
July. But
July, 2 months later.
I'm not talking about like time frame with like.
Oh, you mean like time in the universe?
Yeah. That's
that's got to be pretty close. Like they're still in high school. It looks like it's a class trip.
Yeah, no. I heard a rumor that Far From Home takes place like 15 minutes after Endgame. Like it finishes in Endgame, and then when you pick it up later, that's
they defeat
the end of it.
They defeat Thanos, and like as Thanos is like basically giving his monologue, like Spider-Man looks at his clock, it's like, "Hey guys, I gotta go to France or like Europe or wherever I'm at."
Well, I can see
I got a class trip. Sorry.
It's kind of exactly how they ended Ragnarok, like where like Ragnarok, like the kind of after credit scene directly leads into Infinity War.
Yeah,
I can see that happening. Like whatever the after credit stinger is for Endgame would lead directly. I'm sure there's gonna be like 2 or 3 after credit stingers, but one of them will lead directly into Far From Home.
Oh, I think like whatever like credit stinger that they're doing at the end of Endgame will basically like be something way bigger than something for
that's what I'm saying.
Spider-Man. I think it's going to basically be like, hey, here's like the next like 4 years of Marvel like movies that we're going to be planning.
Yeah, I think we'll get
Did you guys see did you see what I posted in the Phantom Zone?
No,
I did not. Which thing? There's so many people posting.
Yeah.
Well, we all look for it. I would say, like, I could see them doing, like, the first one's like a tiny Spider-Man thing. I can see them doing a Fantastic Four thing, and then something to do with space. So, like, a Galactus or Silver Surfer or a Nihilus tease. Because they basically canceled Guardians 3, right?
No, it's still going.
Indefinite hold.
Yeah.
Which means canceled. I do want to say, like, one of the things that was posted is, so, like, the boat by the one kid, it says ASM 212. So that's Amazing Spider-Man 212. And so that's Hydro Man. Because we see what appears to be Hydro Man, I would say Sandman. And what was the other?
They're going with Sandman.
And what was the other guy? It's like Molten Man, I think is his name that people are saying.
God,
He's fighting the elementals.
Hydra
Yeah.
Man
So there's got to be one for
much.
each.
Oh yeah, I
element.
remember my first introduction to Hydra Man was the old cartoon, like the '90s cartoon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
And he is like Sandman's the most like fleshed out, but like they're all just tools. Like Hydra Man is like the quintessential like jock bully who then gets like water powers. And he usually just beats him by like electrocuting him, I think.
Yeah, do you know who created Hydra? Like, okay, so this is a bit or this is like something I learned on War Rocket Ajax a couple months ago when they were doing panel presidents, and Hydra Man came up for their voting. Like, do you know when that character was created and like who created him?
No, who?
So that character was created in like 1981 by Dennis O'Neil, and it's like you're like, wait, he's not a Stan Lee character? You're like, yeah, like even Stan Lee wouldn't just create a guy who's just like, oh, we already have a sand guy, like, you know, let's do that. He's like, what if we had a guy named Water? You know, it's like even Stan Lee wasn't like, like maybe not.
I like Danny O'Neil though. Like I like him as like I don't know. I've liked his stuff before, but that's kind of funny. But like all of Spider-Man's like I feel like Spider-Man and the Flash have like the two goofiest rogues galleries in all of existence.
Oh,
yeah, but
like I think
but it still
Spider-Man's
works out.
rogues are super underrated.
Whose?
Spider-Man's.
Oh yeah, they're ridiculous. What the one I always bring up as like the most ridiculous is it Will-O-the-Wisp?
That sounds familiar, yeah.
That's like an actual Spider-Man villain, and that's his name. And I think he has like bees or something.
Are you thinking of the Swarm, who's like a Nazi, who's like a Nazi, who's covered in bees, or is a bee man?
No, it's somebody else. I think.
Will-O-the-Wisp. He's a physicist who gained control over electromagnetic attraction between body molecules, allowing him to adjust his density, most often a Spider-Man foe.
I feel like I think he was one of the characters that Punisher kills in Civil War, where he's just like saves Spider-Man, just pops him in the face.
Good.
Wait, are you talking about the awesome scene where he comes into the heroes meeting?
No. He kills 4 people in that issue. So first, Spider-Man's getting the shit kicked out of him by 2 villains that are working for like the Iron Man thing. And he kills 2 of them, and then he brings Spider-Man to the thing, and there's like 2 other villains there, and Cap's like, oh yeah, they're working with us, and Punisher just turns around and caps them in the face.
Yeah, and they're like, what the fuck?
And Captain was like, what are you doing? He's like, you're better than them. They're murderers and killers.
Yeah, they told him to get the fuck out.
Yeah, he
And
killed
so are you.
Jack-O-Lantern.
Oh, he killed Jack-O-Lantern.
Yeah, I think that's who he killed in the street. Because then Jack-O-Lantern reappears in Ghost Rider during Civil War time as like as somebody that Satan has inhabited. I think that's the right word.
Yeah,
he brought back from the dead. It's actually an awesome Ghost Rider story because it's like the hometown of the Jack-O-Lantern guy, and he's just like terrorizing them and like killing kids. It's like the most brutal thing ever. And Ghost Rider and the sheriff like end up teaming up.
Nice.
Going back to like the Spider-Man movie, I think like the other like kind of important thing to talk about is that Shield is back in the Marvel movie universe.
Yeah, well, we see 3 suits in the trailer because we see the black suit, we see the red and black suit, and then we see the suit from like the regular one. And yeah, Nick Fury just comes. I actually think that scene is hilarious where he's just like,
he's tranks Ned.
Yeah, he just tranks him. It's like, he's gonna be okay. It's like, might want to roll him over so he doesn't swallow his tongue.
Yeah.
But I mean, like and Nick Fury shows up in Captain Marvel as we've seen in the trailers. But
yeah, that's a flashback.
Other than the Stinger and Infinity War, it's been like quiet. Since Winter Soldier that we've seen Shield in the Marvel films.
If you don't count the TV show, yes.
Or Age of Ultron.
Winter Soldier happen after that?
Winter Soldier was before Age of Ultron was
I don't remember much about Age of Ultron. I'm not a fan of that movie.
No, I think Age of Ultron came out
a year after.
I think it comes out in between the 2 Cap movies.
It did.
Yeah.
But the thing I was talking about was I was in another group which I will not name because I don't want to get kicked out of that group.
Good.
So many people were just like were saying that Far From Home is a prequel to.
Oh, I
Infinity
remember
War?
you talking about this. Yes.
And
No.
they're like, "Are you an idiot? What?"
Yeah.
Because people
if it was-
people were bitching that like, oh, you spoiled Endgame. It's like, this movie has been announced since the first one basically started.
Yeah.
filming.
I mean, here's the thing. You watch the trailer, man, your boy Tony Stark ain't in that trailer.
Yeah, that's
I
a
would
more
actually say
interesting find.
I think that and the fact that nobody seems freaked out that like half of humanity was erased. So nobody has a memory of such things. Maybe not even Peter.
What about Happy though?
Wow.
Oh, actually, yeah, that is a good thing to pull from that too. Happy and Aunt May seem to have some spark.
They
banging
got
out.
some
Which,
chemistry.
well, like, okay, so like I wasn't sure if that was just like a joke about like if that was like an actual like, oh, like they're like dating, that's kind of cool, I guess. Or if that was just like, oh, like everyone just is like enamored by Aunt May.
It could be either, but I feel like to me it read as because he makes a comment about like the dress being new or something, or like
Yeah.
that like that's like that they've been seeing each other, and Peter's reaction is something like, okay, what's going on? And I do think it's interesting because I guess in the last Spider-Man we definitely got the same kind of flirtation between. They did it for like other reasons between Tony and Aunt May is because they were in a movie together when they were in their like 20s as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is
I did
interesting
not
to
know
give.
that.
Yes, that is why there's like a bunch of jokes between them. I can't remember what movie it is, but they were in a movie because they're the same age. Like Marissa Tomei is like in her 50s, which you would never know because she is unbreakable.
She is a dime.
She's past time. She's beyond it.
She's a goddamn quarter.
But yeah, is there any? I'm trying to think if there's any other. There's a couple of stories I guess we could spin off from here. So we have another Marvel's teasing a new major character, or like a major
Announcement.
change in the X-Men, and it has to do with Rob Liefeld.
You know, I like X-Men. I'm always like a guy that's like, man, because I always see like people posting up, like, you know, artists like posting up like, you know, really cool redesigns for costumes or like, you know, for X-Men. I'm just like, man, like there's like a lot of really cool ideas for like people, you know, to do stuff with the X-Men out there. And it's like, I don't know if necessarily like Marvel's big push to get new readers into X-Men is Rob Liefeld. And like, and that's like all respect to Rob Liefeld because again, like he's like a really integral part of like a really classic of a really classic era of X-Men that's super well celebrated. But it's just like I don't know like how this gets new readers or
I think it's because of his ties to Deadpool, the fact that his name is mentioned in the second movie, and he is so hot right now. Kind of as I would say he's almost as big as you can be in like mainstream kind of I don't know, zeitgeist as you can be for like a comic book artist writer. And like he's really great on social media, like him doing the pouches is like carried well. So like I can see them doing it. So it seems like they tweeted a sketch from 92 which appears to be Liefeld. And a lot of people are thinking they're going to do it with Cyclops because it's definitely like an X symbol, and Cyclops has been dead, right? The original.
He recently just came back, but like it's also like kind of funny because that's like a Cyclops helmet, like it looks like, and that's also the Cyclops helmet he had
when he was the.
It was post
Phoenix Force, right?
Yeah, post Phoenix Force, when his powers got all like wonky.
When he became a bad guy.
Yeah.
It also reminds me of Magneto, but like it's because it's that same style, like kind of helmet.
Yeah. And that's totally like what that helmet was like kind of also supposed to invoke.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good look. Like, I mean, like, I know people were like shitting on like that look for Cyclops, but I thought like the helmet design was super kind of cool.
Oh, I think it was like a great idea to kind of make this character that everyone rips on for being a douche to make him actually like he becomes the new Magneto in every way you can think of. Where like he's the bad guy, but he's also kind of not wrong in many ways. He's just
I feel like that's like that's a '90s X-Men thing where like
which is
Cyclops,
all Rob Liefeld.
yeah, where,
That- that's
and I mean, to be fair, it's like when you look at the rest of that team, it's like you have like Colossus, Storm, and Beast, and Kitty, and like once and Jean, like once you kind of like go down the line, it was like, Cyclops, and it's like you could write a stoic leader in like a really good way. Like that's why like Leonardo of the Turtles is like such a celebrated character, because like sometimes like you just need like that stone for the team, and Cyclops is that stone. But like sometimes I think they, especially if you watch like the X-Men animated series, which like a lot of like that series is based off of like the comics of that era, like Cyclops is a little too dry.
Oh, but I think that's because like in a comic where everybody has the craziest and kooky powers, including Cyclops, his personality is so flat. He's like so militaristic in like his thought process that he, especially juxtaposed to Wolverine, he's just like when it's like if the audience is Jean Grey, like him and Wolverine, oh my god, I can't believe I'm making this analogy. It's like the Jacob and what's the other guy's name from stupid fucking Twilight?
Oh, Edward.
Yeah, it's like Cyclops is Edward. It's the one that she ends up with, but he's so goddamn boring, and he's just like this calm presence, and it's just, but like that's how he was written at that time. Like there are interesting Cyclops stories. I think he's an interesting character.
Well, Cyclops didn't want to fuck a baby.
Wait, who's the Jacob in this scenario?
I think Wolverine, because Wolf.
Oh,
fair enough. That's a good assumption.
I do not like Jean and Wolverine at all. Like,
I don't like them as a couple because
the idea that I was like, we have to have. I mean, it's really bad love triangle shit, and I was just like, man, like I don't feel like Jean would ever date Wolverine. Like, and I don't. But it's just like the idea that it's like, Jean within that era, like I feel like has no agency within herself.
Oh,
like,
she absolutely does not.
That it's like the idea that it's like Cyclops and Wolverine are in this power struggle of like who's running the team, and of course it also has to like be like about like this.
It's a dick
this
measuring
girl
contest.
that they're also like trying to like date.
No,
that's why I appreciate Jean now so much.
Yeah, Wolverine is one of those characters. I would say kind of like Daredevil, where it's like they can never, and almost like Batman, I put in there, they can't ever find love because it would almost like completely change who they are. And that's what writers think, and that's what they do. And it's why I have problems with some of the stuff that gets put out with like, the wedding thing with Batman. It's like the idea of them finding happiness can't be sustained because it would completely change their character forever.
Yeah.
I can't think of another one besides Daredevil, Wolverine, and Batman that are in that kind of camp.
I mean, that's kind of a lot of heroes, and that's unfortunately like also like the backbone of the New 52, where they're like, our heroes can't be. Yeah, no one gets married. No one can have like sustaining relationships because that makes our characters too old.
Except for Superman and Wonder Woman.
Well, no, that didn't last either. That's gone. That only lasted in New 52 and barely.
I don't get that relationship either.
Well, because it makes a super god baby.
Yeah,
super baby.
It's the whole Dark Knight thing. That's all it is. It's because they did it because Frank Miller did it in Dark Knight, and it was done in Kingdom Come. Like it's true, like the seminal books done by like big time writers.
Yeah, I mean it's not the worst ship in those like major publisher or like major comic creators like stables, but I mean it's not completely worthless. It's not
it's like what
it's not Batgirl and Barbara,
Yeah, it's it's the most powerful man, the most powerful woman will make the super baby, the Messiah baby.
I was trying to remember this. Do you guys remember that book from it was around the time Siege ended? It was next book. Claremont was writing it, and basically Gene, every person time that Gene was going to get with a guy, he ended up dying in that issue. Like she was going to get with, she was going to leave Scott and get with Wolverine. He died. She was going to get with Hank. He died.
Like Hank as in Beast?
Yeah, Beast.
Oh, that's a weird coupling.
X-Men Forever?
Yes. God, that I'm not saying okay.
2001 miniseries written by
no
2009 series. Okay, here we go. Despite the original billing of a what would have been written by Claremont had never left, the series quickly diverged into the idea into a more traditional alternate universe title. I remember the series kind of being big. Like, old X-Men guys kind of really liked it, because he also did X Factor Forever, which people also seem to like, but I don't know. I was a comic reader at the time where I was just I read his New Exiles and his New Excalibur, and I just wanted nothing to do with that guy. It was the very last thing I ever wanted to see him do was another X-Men book.
Also, side note about the 5592. That was my dad's 35th birthday.
Cool.
Oh God, you said 35th?
Yeah.
I am only a couple years away from that. Thank you for making me feel old.
Quick thing I wanted to bring up about this IDW launching a Kickstarter for a Ninja Turtles board game.
I was literally just looking through it.
One, I've never heard anyone ever talk anything good about any of those IDW board games. I don't hear anyone ever talk about them. And they released a Chew board game, and even that I was just I don't think this looks very good. And two, I think it's a little weird that IDW, being a number 4 publisher in comics, is doing a Kickstarter for a board game. Board games are expensive to do. I get it, but it's again, it'd be if Image came out tomorrow and was like, "Hey, do you want to kickstart this board game?" I'm like, "Dude, you guys got the money for it."
I kind of get it in a way. I think that the kind of middle tier companies that want to expand their IPs, this is a good way to kind of test the market and not sink a crazy amount of stuff in it. I do want to say, I don't know if any of you guys are big board game people.
I'm a pretty big board game buff. I've been playing for a long time.
This looks like the Doom board game.
It does. It looks like it takes a lot from D&D too.
Yeah, it looks very much like that. I do have to say, these sculpts, if these come out as good as they look amazing.
The minis will probably look amazing. That's the best part about kickstarting games on Kickstarter, is that usually when you do, you get some really nice minis. I've got the Dark Souls one, and it the miniatures are absolutely gorgeous. My friend has actually painted a few of them, and they look like they're actual sculptures.
The Rocksteady and Bebop look amazing, and then
they fucking do.
That one alt sculpt slash, Savage Slash, looks awesome. I like the dark version. I clicked it because I was like, ooh, and it already met its goals. It's already over $80,000 past its first goal, so they're in the stretch goals.
Perfect.
Yeah, after
I'd say something, but
a couple days.
I'd say something, but thanks to my reaction to Phantom Zone, when Warner and was on sale, they were talking about stuff like possibly like they proposed a what if IDW bought DC Comics or something.
Oh yeah, because DC, there was a lot of talk early on.
And I lost my shit, and now the guys think I have a vengeance against IDW.
I do remember this joke and having it explained to me, because this was when oh man, what was DC do? Oh, it wasn't it if like Justice League like super bombed or Aquaman, there was like talks that they were gonna break up. Warner Brothers was like doing like, not good.
They're like, what if they were gonna like what Marvel did with their movies, but with comic characters?
Yeah, that was like a real thought for a while that people actually saw like that Marvel might actually buy DC Comics, or by Marvel I mean Disney.
God,
I mean, I don't put it past that. Them.
I think that would not get past the monopoly thing.
No.
It would. Like, I'm not like any major. It's like if the Disney buyout of 20th Century Fox goes through, like,
oh, I think it's already gone.
Yeah, like, I mean, once pen to paper, it's official. Disney owns 20th Century Fox, which is like not quite there yet. But like when the day comes, it's like monopoly laws like don't matter.
Wait a minute.
Like Marvel could buy DC tomorrow, or like the day after, and people will be like, oh, what about monopoly laws? Hey, like it doesn't matter. Like everything's already run by 4 companies. Like Disney owns 40% of the entertainment industry now. It's like it doesn't matter.
Well, like you can say that for like a bunch of things. That's going into like weird, like I would say the worst people are like cable companies, which one of them is also one of the big, like Comcast, which is NBC. Was it NBC and what else did they own? Because they were one of the ones that was trying to buy Fox, weren't they?
NBC, yeah. ABC, and
ABC is Disney. NBC is Comcast.
Mm-hmm.
Fox, CBS is Viacom.
Basically, anything you ever consume is owned by 4 companies.
Yes. Well, and then one of those companies is getting eaten by the other. But
okay, what if AVP, Aliens, and Predator? Who owns? Those
Disney,
are both owned by
Disney will own them.
Oh my God! Well, do you think they'll pull a Star Wars, where the comics rights?
Yes, I think they'll become, though, if they want to, they will go under. The only thing Fox is not selling to Disney is sports. So, like Fox Sports, the 2 channels they have,
and their news.
So, Fox News. I believe Fox, the network, is part of the deal, though.
It's basically all their entertainment stuff.
Yes, it's every IP and license that they own.
I would like it if if Disney said no, we want Fox News, and then just canned everyone on air, like Vince McMahon did to Jeff Jarrett.
No, well, the big thing to get into it is because I believe the kids are taking over Fox. What's his name? I don't remember the guy. The British guy, or no, Australian guy that owns Fox.
Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah, his kids are taking over, so that's why they're cutting the fat, as they say, which they were basically not making very good money on everything not sports and news.
Oh man, if they had waited a bunch of years, IGN could have been a Disney conglomerate or part of the Disney conglomerate and be very biased, and actually would have a reason. People would have a reason to hate them.
Well, it's the same. Sony was going through the same thing because their movie division had been doing terrible over the last 5 years.
Yeah, and GamePro is a subsidiary of Sony.
All right, I think we only have like a couple other things news-wise that I found. So, really quick tie into the Rob Liefeld thing. He, in actual response, I was reading to CM Punk, kind of tweeted that he was working on Image United. I don't know how serious he was. We were talking about this a little bit before you joined, John, but like before we started recording, I don't know how real this is. It's something that they've been talking about forever.
wasn't Image United already came out? Are they like talking about like finishing it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why? Like who in the year of our Lord 2019 like cares about a crossover between like Spawn and Savage Dragon?
I don't even know who
because there's
Savage Dragon is.
well, it's now the son of Savage Dragon, I think, right? Is the character?
What, like, and also it's like Spawn, Savage Dragon, Youngbloods, Shadowhawk.
Isn't Netflix doing a TV show for one of them? Is it Youngblood?
Not that I know of. I mean, like the only reason I would see like working on this is because there's that Spawn movie that might come out either this year or next year. But like,
I feel like they made a deal with somebody to make TV shows or movies. Yeah, they made a deal with Netflix. Yeah. They are going to be making. When was this? Last year. Netflix is going to be making the Extreme Universe based on Rob Liefeld's Extreme.
The Extreme Universe.
Yes. That came out March last year.
Blood Strike, Cybrid, Rejects, Blood Wolf, Kaboom. This sounds awful. I don't even believe that 4 of the names I just said are real.
I'd rather buy a lifetime subscription to the WWE Network than watch any.
I think when this came out, this was one of the early things I was like, "Oh yeah, this is Netflix's response," because
this is even like top tier Rob Liefeld. I figured like if he signed a deal with Netflix, I was like, oh, like they're making like Youngblood. That's actually like not a bad. Like it's not. I feel like
Youngblood is part of it though. I feel like they were going like it's like a bunch of different Image stuff.
Okay, I mean, after that, I heard good things about the Michelle Fife Bloodstrike series that just came out. So like I don't know, maybe if it's like done in that style, but I don't know. I mean, it's like hey, like whatever you could do to like basically resurrect old brands and basically make a competition for like other superhero stuff. Like that's cool as long as it's not just I don't know, like trying to recapture an era that no longer exists.
Well, I think it's more of like they saw the writing on the wall at the time, Netflix-wise, with Marvel, and Hulu is now part of Disney, basically, and then so all you're left with is like your Warner Brothers isn't going to do anything because they have their own CW stuff. So then you have to start going to the second tier, which I guess Image is the number 3 based on the sales. It's like up there, and they can't do Walking Dead because Walking Dead's already with AMC. So what's the next biggest thing that Image still has rights to? And McFarlane's doing his own movie. That's a separate thing. So I guess Liefeld is the biggest next name. I don't know.
Oh wow. Okay, so breaking news at Deadline, I guess Jason Reitman's directing a new Ghostbusters?
Wait, what?
What?
Jason Reitman, who's the son of Ivan Reitman, who directed like Juno and like Thank You for Not Smoking and Up in the Air, is directing a new Ghostbusters film that's being out in 2020.
Oh, yeah, I'm clicking on the link.
It's taking place in the original universe.
So we're ignoring the all-women one.
Even though it actually was not bad.
I still haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet either.
It's good. Like I mean, I think it's like no worse than Ghostbusters 2, which I don't think is, I thought that movie is fine.
It's watchable.
But I don't know. I feel like if you're doing like a new Ghostbusters film and you don't try to at least incorporate some of like the 2016 Ghostbusters into that film, it's like I don't know.
It'll get really bad backlash if they don't.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. Like maybe people.
I think the question is: does the world need another Ghostbusters movie?
I don't know, man. Like, busting makes me feel good. So,
yes, me too.
Like I don't know, man. There's just like a certain like kind of funness to Ghostbusters. I feel like it kind of needs.
Yeah, like the horror comedy
nice there.
So, like, I guess, like, I don't know, like, it's gonna depend on who is writing it. Because as long as Aykroyd's not writing it, because anytime that he has written by himself, it's been a horror show.
Yeah, and I think it's like one of those things where like people are like, well, why don't they just bring back the original Ghostbusters? I'm like, well, A, like Bill Murray doesn't want to be a part of it, and B, you don't want Dan Aykroyd to be the main guy.
And also, what's his name?
Harold Ramis is dead.
He's been dead for almost a decade.
well, something that did come out 10 years ago, the Ghostbusters game, that
was a great game,
which was written by Ramis.
It was an okay game.
It was written. Well, it was
the story is like super okay, and that's like when people are like, "Well, why don't they just get the original people?" I'm like, "Well, you did. You got the game, and the game was like okay."
Well, I'm actually kind of thinking: is Aykroyd's the only one of the three left alive that doesn't really do
Bill.
anything, right?
Oh yeah, not doing anything.
Man, he's too busy selling his Crystal Head vodka and talking about aliens.
Yeah, well, people buy that vodka for the bottle, and they dump out his garbage.
Probably voting for the Republican ticket.
I don't know. Ernie Hudson is great in everything I see. He was in I think last 2 seasons of, this is going to sound old, but have you guys ever watched Grace and Frankie?
I have.
Netflix?
I've watched bits and pieces of it. It's like not bad.
It's a pretty funny show, but he ends up coming in, I think, in season 2 or 3 or 4. I don't remember what season they are on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he is really, really good on the show.
He was also the voice of Robbie Robinson in the Spider-Man cartoon for Disney XD.
Oh, really? That's actually perfect casting.
Yeah, man. Like, oh, man.
He does, like, he works. Like, Bill Murray is picky, Ernie Hudson works, and Dan Aykroyd is in the ether doing his
crazy pants.
Yes. So, wow, that is interesting breaking news. I don't know how to, because I could, if there was never another Ghostbusters movie, I don't think I would care. And if there was, I don't think I would care. Like, it would have to have, like, I kind of feel the same way. It was like the same way I felt about the Men in Black thing until they announced the casting. And I was like, okay, casting makes me care.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm really sad, we don't live in the universe that end up getting the Men in Black 21 Jump Street crossover movie.
I still think it could happen.
But I think, the return of Thor and Valkyrie as the Men in Black is a pretty fun consolation prize.
Oh, they both can play comedy very, very well. We've seen them both do it. And I think they can play both serious very well. Like, I've seen her play, I'm losing her name right now, but I've seen her since like real early on her career. One of like a random BBC show I watched, she was on, and she was amazing in that. It was called Copper.
Mm-hmm. Copper.
It was about cops in New York at the end of the Civil War. And so it was like kind of Irish immigrant cops. It was really good. And she was the doctor's wife. And it dealt with like race and stuff. It was really interesting. It was kind of historically accurate. But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of don't care.
Yeah, I also don't really care.
I don't know. I think we kind of worked through all of the news. Do you want to quickly go over maybe like one thing each of what we read this week?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, can I go first? So Connor will understand the reference I made in the LHG chat?
Sure.
Oh, yes, please.
I read issue 1 of the WWE comic.
By Dennis Hopeless?
Yeah, and Dan Mora. And man, even like they're focusing on Seth Rollins And oh my god, they push even though Rollins is the main character or the main protagonist or antagonist, depending on how you see it. They still they push Roman as hard as they possibly can. Like, there's a point where the Wyatts or the Wyatt family follows Dean and Roman to where Seth is going to meet up with Triple H. And Seth or Rollins gets hit by a car, or hit by the by the Wyatt family car, and no sells it. And it's mainly, and are they talking about even more no selling? Dean Ambrose, Roman, and Seth are on a WWE production truck doing a barbecue. Then Dean gets mad because he has to go for a potato salad run. So he just does a superhero jump off it, which makes no sense, but then again, it's wrestling.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
While I can see why some. I didn't hate it. But the only thing that saves it is the art. Like I said, it's the art. The art is done by Dan Mora, who also did Claws, and he's going for. He's doing what Mike Diodato wishes he could do. And that's drawing people realistically. Because, like, for an example being the way he draws Triple H compared to how Mike Diodato drew Han Solo when he was doing one of the Star Wars comics. It was just terrible. But luckily I didn't have to pay for it since it's all there's 35 issues, or there's a bunch of volumes on Comixology Unlimited.
Holy crap!
I'm
That's
not sure.
A lot.
Well, I'm not sure if if the book made it that far.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it was from the first. It was WWE Then Now Forever in June or July, or right before Seth did his heel turn.
I've heard some pretty fun things about those WWE comics, and I think considering I've looked through some WWE comics in my day, including some that were written by Mick Foley a couple of years ago that were just not the rip on the man, were pretty bad. I think Dennis Hopeless, and I love Dennis Hopeless. He wrote a really superb Spider-Woman book that I think a lot of people slept on and didn't check out, and you really should. And I think it's gonna be like
he also did a really good X-Men book.
Yeah, like he also did Avengers Arena that I think is also like more people need to check out that book too. And like his WWE comics, like it, and I feel like Dennis Hopeless is like maybe a little bit, I think too. And I love WWE. I'm watching SmackDown after this. I like the product, but I feel like he's like maybe too good for WWE comics. But he feels like a guy who really loves the product. He really loves wrestling, and like the way that he kind of incorporates like storylines in this really absurdist comic book way, but like feels authentic to the WWE brand, like is kind of cool. And I've been meaning to check out like some of the trades for those comics, but stuff builds up and you don't check them out. But like I've heard they're very fun.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to see where it goes. Also, with what you said about him possibly being too good for WWE, it's sort of a similar thing with Gene Yang, who is best known for American Born Chinese.
Oh yeah,
the stuff he did with Avatar.
Yeah, he did stuff for Avatar comics.
No, not Avatar comics. Avatar, his one on with Dark Horse. Avatar: Last Airbender.
Okay. I don't know, man. Like that seems like entirely kind of like within his wheelhouse. Like I don't know, man. I feel like WWE like is popular, but I don't know. Like, and I like wrestling, but I always kind of feel like wrestling is like when you try and like tell other people that you're wrestling fans, like they kind of give you that, they tip their head and they kind of look, like really, like what do you like about it, and like it's cool, like because I think Dennis Hopeless is a cool guy. Hopefully, like this comics must be selling like pretty well because they did like some side stuff with like NXT, and like special comics. So,
they did takeover comics, or they did takeover editions, pay-per-views. They did an Undertaker one.
Mm-hmm. They have a Undertaker original graphic novel coming out. That's basically about the origin of the Undertaker.
That's wild. That's so weird that like there's a whole subsection of wrestling comics and books that it just blows my mind. I never would have thought that.
Because I can tell you, like this is all I know about the origin of the Undertaker is that he grew up, that Kane, his brother, burned their house down and killed his parents, and that also Paul Bearer might also be his father, because Kane is the father of Paul. Like Paul Bearer, or Kane's father is Paul Bearer.
Isn't their origin very similar to like the Hound and the Mountain in Game of Thrones?
I checked out Game of Thrones after season 1, so like
how dare you, sir?
I mean, it's
I'm
fine.
joking. Everybody has their own taste. I get it.
Like what honestly happened was I was not caught up on Game of Thrones, and people just kept on spoiling shit for me, and I was like, and I'm like, and I kind of wasn't like super enthralled with it like while I was watching it. So then I was like, oh, like Red Wedding, blah 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 happens, and I was like, oh cool, okay, I'm outie.
You can watch it when it's all done. I watched all of Breaking Bad, I think, the year after it ended, and pretty much nothing. Like, I knew some of the things, but like, yeah, I think I watched the entire series in like a month. And it was awesome. I know, I just derailed this entire conversation.
Maybe a little bit.
Okay, there's Dennis Hopeless wrote from like the main WWE comic book.
Yeah.
He wrote 24 issues. So, and he also did Survivor Series special, NXT Takeover, Into the Fire, Proving Ground, Redemption, and The Blueprint. And he also did a WrestleMania special.
Mm-hmm.
So I may do a deep dive. I may fall down the rabbit's hole.
The wabbit hole.
A rabbit hole.
Duck season. Wow, that joke.
No, I got it.
Oh, I wasn't. I knew that it was gotten. It was just bad.
I guess who wants to talk about comics next?
I can do it quickly. So one, I finished up I got caught up with the Alien books. Fantastic read so far.
I have to go pick up my copy of 3 tomorrow.
Yeah, 3 is great. It completes one of my favorite traditions in all the Alien movies, and I won't talk about it till you finish it.
I do like with the first 2 that like the world, which I feel like that we never got in any of the movies, was that so there's in this universe there are like 2 factions. There's basically like the corporate, and then there's the communists.
The UPP.
Yes.
It somehow, I don't know how big of an anime. It reminded me of Gundam. Like
we all PP.
We all PP.
Well,
UPP, IPP, we all PP.
You down with PP?
I'm always down with PP.
You know me.
But like I was like, oh, we've never really kind of gotten a real glance of what this
Cold War.
Yeah, that like what this world actually exists. All we got was like, oh, there's some like in the first one. Oh, there's some vessel like going to like strip, like they're like going to like salvage stuff, and it's like, oh, there's some sort of research vessel, and then there's like, what's his name is in the second one? That's like the corporate dude from Mad About You. Paul Reiser. But like we never got to see what really the world looks like. So that's the most interesting part of this book.
Yeah,
I think to me
the closest prior to this we got was the Alien versus Predator game.
Which not the Jaguar one?
The PC one that came out.
The arcade game? Oh no, the FPS.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think the arcade and the Jaguar are the same thing.
No, the FPS and the Jaguar are the same thing.
Okay.
Like,
because they're both like the PC one is like a better version of the Jaguar version.
Which, for all those youngins, the Jaguar was this extremely expensive console that no one owned.
Yeah,
it was made by Atari.
Rumors.
Yes, I knew one person that had it, so I have actually played a Jaguar.
Oh wow!
Yes, I was friends with one of those kids.
I recently
was he like a kid that like owned a bunch of consoles, or was that like the Jaguar was like?
Yeah, there were 4 kids in the household. I was friends with the second oldest, who's my age, and they had every console because the dad was a gamer.
Yeah,
so they had every console. So like, I played the Jaguar. They had what was the other one that was like weird and goofy and died quick?
TurboGrafx 16.
No, the Dreamcast was after. What was
Game Gear?
No, Game Gear was the handheld. No, it was like another random console. There was the Sega Saturn, there was a Jaguar, and there was like
Philips
something.
CDI.
Was it that? I'm trying to think. Was it 3D?
Sega CD?
3DO?
Oh, yeah, the 3D. Yeah, I know.
I think they had that one, but they had all the other ones. Like I played Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn was also like one that died.
So what you're saying is they were let's see.
Yeah,
no, they weren't.
Ooh.
But it was it was the only time where I had. I can't remember. I think we were playing GoldenEye. No, it was before that. What was like a big game around that? I'm talking about like I was in 2nd grade.
Epic gamer moments.
His dog had a puppy next to me on the floor. Yes.
Oh.
Like the dog gave birth next to me, and we were playing a game against each other. And
my god!
I looked over, and I'm in 2nd grade, and I'm like, that? I literally like yelled to his dad. And I was like, Mitch, and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, I think the dog pooped a puppy.
Let that be the title. Make that the title for this episode.
Okay, and he literally did the thing from like 101 Dalmatians where he had to pick it up and rub it.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so like
You saw the miracle of life, man.
I did. It was actually like a learning experience where I was like, oh, so that's how things are born? Like they come out slimy and gross and not cute and cuddly?
Yep, you figured it out. Congratulations.
Man, I have a friend of mine who's like trying to he wants to collect all of the 3DO games.
Oh my god.
that's his Moby Dick.
How many games were there on it? Not a lot. 40 or 50?
162.
Okay. I feel like for some reason in my mind, 3DO as a system is connected to the game series Gex.
Gex.
Which I don't know why, but I think 3DO, I think Gex. Which is like he was like kind of the fourth wall breaking character.
I mean, he was born of like that era of system mascots, so it was like Sonic, Mario, Bubsy.
Was Crash Bandicoot after this?
Crash is totally one of them. Acro the Acrobat.
Spyro.
Awesome Possum. Spyro.
Do you guys? I don't know who. I actually don't remember how old you guys are, but like, did any of you play the 7-Up game?
Yeah. Enter the Spot. Yeah,
yes.
that game's kind of rad.
It's really good platform. Yeah.
Like, I don't know how well it's held up, but like as a kid, I thought that game was super cool.
Yeah, it's like the only like pure marketing game that was like, oh, this is actually a good game, because they probably just made another game and then replaced the sprite.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was kind of a joke as well, because 7-Up game sprite. I'm really on fire tonight.
Yeah, you're really kicking it off. Jesus.
So, Connor, you were playing Alien, or you were reading. Yes, that was the thing.
He was experiencing it.
I went through.
He was drinking it in.
Oh yeah, no, I was letting it overflow me. No, I did the Alien books. I want to talk about that when it's done. I think there's 2 more issues left, so not too long. But my big meat and potatoes this week was the Tom King Vision story.
Yes, I remember seeing you talk about this.
Fun.
Did you finish it?
I finished. Yeah, dude, I did it all.
Cool.
Yeah, no, that was excellent. That was an absolutely excellent read, and it definitely didn't go in the ways I thought it was.
He's a good writer.
Yeah,
I just don't like Heroes in Crisis so far.
Yeah, no, I as far as I know, Heroes in Crisis is kind of weird and garbage.
I like his Batman run a lot.
I was gonna say we all can't hit bullseyes in our life.
Yeah, but his Batman run is great. So like he's a good writer, and I like what he's doing with everything else. It's just that one thing. So most of the time when I see his name, like I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, no, I'm now a fan. I now know who he is because this was really well written. Like just the dialogue, the back and forth between certain characters. Like there's the whole issue where it's kind of like a flashback between the Vision and Scarlet Witch, and it's so human. It just feels so.
The prequel to the series.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
Since she gives him.
Yeah, no, she gives him her brainwaves so he can make a new one. Because I guess everybody dies. The original Vision dies.
Well, everybody's died. Like it's comic books. Everyone's died.
Yeah, that's what I've just kind of assumed at this point.
Yeah, because the original one was based on Wonder Man's brainwaves.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like here's the thing.
It's like 4 decades ago.
But here's the thing. Like to read the Vision, like none of that shit's important. Like like the amount of the amount of Vision comics I probably read in my life, I can probably count on 3 fingers because it's it's like maybe 2. And like reading the Vision, like it was just like everything from like the first issue like kind of explained like everything like super well, like set you kind of in like what the status quo is, like who the Vision is, like how he's important, and then like and then introduce you to his family of Viv, Vin, Van, and Vive.
Yeah, Vin and Viv.
Vin and Vive, and like.
Are those his kids?
Yeah, he's got 2 kids.
Okay, because I remember at one point they had twins, didn't they?
that's the Scarlet Witch and the Vision from like way back, and then like they end up being Wiccan and Speed from Young Avengers.
Yes, that's who is. Yeah, it's Wiccan.
That stuff is not important for this story.
Okay.
And so like it's just like this really cool like story like that like introduces you super well, and I mean, like the only other like kind of like back matter story that kind of like is important probably to it is the writer Tom King working for the CIA, and the story is basically like him writing about coming back from war, and or working with the government and having like a family in suburbia, and like it's not like like 100% perfect, but it's like a lot of like
Oh yeah, he's talked about it online that like all of his experiences get written into all of his stories, and he's also thus been connected to a bunch of conspiracy theories online.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like I saw some shit where people were like, "Oh, he actually didn't serve in the CIA," and I'm like, "Are you like, are you insane?"
He's like, you can look up my records, but I've also seen him responding to people being like, "Oh, he's like a deep cover operative that never retired, and all of his writing is to indoctrinate people."
Yeah, that's some like tinfoil hot shit. But but it's like really cool because like throughout the series it kind of introduces you to like all the stuff with like his relationship with the Scarlet Witch, his relationship with Victor Mancha.
Which, that's
like
what I want.
as
that's awesome.
Like also like as someone who has read like Runaways recently, like that shit like when I was reading it, like, and I liked Victor, like, it broke my heart. But as someone who has probably read, like, who was reading Runaways, like, super recently, like, I mean, like, how did all that stuff with Victor, like, kind of like,
dude, that broke my heart. But it was so deserved because, like, the book illustrates and it kind of takes you aside and it shows you like Victor's origins and what you've kind of missed. Like, he was kind of fucked up. Like, he was definitely going down this very weird path.
Because I mean, like, here's the thing about Destiny. It's like you could try and change it, but it's at a certain point, things are going to happen the way they're going to happen, and and the end story with Victor is at some point he becomes Victory, and
victorious,
victorious, and the Vision was like kind of like the first time where you're like, oh shit, like are we seeing this kind of happen? And like, and not to spoil anything, but like, Victor is currently a character within Rainbow Rowell's and Chris Anka's Runaways, which is a fucking great book, and is like the best book at Marvel, like debatably right now. And
I'm kind of sad that Chris Anka is leaving.
Yeah, like I'm super bummed about it because like Chris Anka is like he's like an A-tier artist, or he should be. And I'm like really kind of excited to see like where he goes, but it almost kind of like gives me like a really nervous tick because I'm kind of worried about the future of the Runaways. Like, because here's the thing, like Rainbow Rowell is still writing the book, so like at least like it's not going to get canceled in 6 issues, in the way that like a lot of those books. It's like if Rainbow Rowell and Anka were leaving and they had a new creative team that was like kind of nobodies, like I'd be really worried for the future of that book. But like right now I'm kind of like half worried, like but like going back to Victor, like a lot of the stuff that like happens in Vision is slowly being touched upon in the current Runaways book in like really cool, interesting ways.
Okay.
And I haven't been reading it, and I've been really meaning, like, I think I like just need to bite the bullet and buy Marvel Unlimited because I've been really wanting to read Champions, because Viv Visions has been a character in that book for about a year now.
Okay.
That's like their Young Justice kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's like the book with like Miles and Nova and Miss Marvel and Viv and Wasp and Ironheart.
Oh, cool! Those
Speaking
are
of
awesome.
Miss Marvel, I have not read it ever since G. Willow Wilson left. I just can't read it.
She hasn't left the book yet. She's like leaving in like I think her last issue is like in 2 months. No, a month. Which I mean, like, here's the thing: like, G. Willow Wilson like was going to leave that book at some point.
I know. It's just that I like the way she writes Miss Marvel or Kamala Khan.
Sure, like totally, but like the new writer for that book is Saladin Ahmad, who's pretty great. Like, I mean, he wrote Black Bolt, he wrote Exiles. He wrote like another book, like I'm forgetting about. Right? No, he's the current writer of Miles Morales, if I'm not mistaken. And that book's like kind of not bad so far. And I think it's like, for the growth of character, like, people are gonna leave books and come on. Some of them will be good, some of them will be bad, but like you gotta give characters a chance, man, or give writers a chance.
As they said on Fly the Concords, give Pete a chance.
Yes, give him a chance.
All right. Was there anything else you wanted to touch on with that, Connor? Or?
Yeah, one quick last note. That moment where I don't know if it's I'm going to spoil the book a little bit. The moment where Virginia comes through the wall after Vision has beat up every superhero.
Really cool moment, actually. And kills Victor. The satisfaction and happiness you see on his face,
man, that was really good. That really got to me. Like his last words are, "I am not victorious," and he seems like he's winning in the long run because of that. Yes, that's all. Very good moment. Please go read the book if you haven't.
Awesome. John, I just want to ask, because you're actually the person that turned me on to it. Did you read Manhunter #2 or Martian Manhunter #2?
I have not.
Oh.
I was kind of debating on like whether I should, because I was like, because I'm, it's like I have like X amount of space in my house, and I was like, man, like do I like, because I think it's like only going to be like 12 issues, so I think I'm going to buy the second issue.
I think it's only 6.
It's 12. Like
it's 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it might be like one of those things where I just buy it because like I don't want to wait like a year for the trade, the trade, because like, and that's like my basic like idea. It's like, oh man, like, do I want to buy this in trade or do I want to buy the issues?
I was gonna say, like, my two books kind of tie into each other in a bit because of like the way that they're written. So there's Manhunter and Green Lantern #3, and they're both kind of writing it in this very procedural, Law and Order-y style. So
Did Martian Manhunter also have a moment where he punched God in the face?
Trying to think, not God, but a yellow Martian.
Yeah.
I think
for all the people, it's like not to bring like politics into this like podcast again, but it's like for all the people who were like mad about this week about finally discovering that Mark Russell is doing that book about Jesus on Earth. It's like, yo, dog, don't tell them about Green Lantern punching Jesus in the face this week.
When I shared in the group that Morrison has a Jesus book coming out this summer that I am going to buy. After he did his, like, I think they're on the 3rd volume of his Santa Claus book, Claus.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Manhunter, I won't spoil anything, but more backstory. I love seeing this, like, look at what Mars is. And I feel like it's very interesting, especially, I don't know if any of you guys are watching the Return of Young Justice for season 3 on the DC app.
Watching what now?
Young Justice, like they brought back the show.
No.
So in the last set of episodes, there was stuff that had to do with Mars and like Martian culture. Mm-hmm. And it is interesting because there's kind of teases to this where like, I want to see more of this kind of racial stuff going on Mars, between the difference between like the greens, the whites, and the yellows, at least in the book. And between that and like him it's so interesting, but it's also like a kind of cop drama at the same time.
Mhm.
So you're like, it's very like flashing back and then to current time, and and the art is goddamn spectacular.
I heard there was like a real like, 'cause, it's like the idea that it's like a space, like Grant Morrison's right. It's like the idea
the
that
Green Lantern,
that,
yeah, the Green Lantern one's a little
yeah.
different.
Well,
Also,
it's
I'm
like
a Manhunter, yeah.
yeah, like yeah. Keep on going because I think like there was like something I heard about like Green Lantern. I thought was like kind of interesting, but
Well, the Green Lantern book starts off with basically a trade market that's very reminiscent of a, like, to me at least, of a kind of like a slave trade thing, but instead of it being a person, it is the planet Earth.
Mhm.
And I don't know, like, so like the people doing the auction, like part of like they have a little backstory in the beginning. They look like a very Star Wars-esque character. There's a lot of that in this because space cops. But like they are hiring bodyguards, which are the characters we met, I think, in the last issue, the Black Stars.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, like our races, like we have no, I can't remember what the term is. Like they don't care about anything. Like they're kind of, not that they're nihilists, but they feel no sympathy. Like sympathy isn't part of their culture.
Mhm.
But there is interesting because like when they start the auction, there's a bunch of different creatures. One of the people that's bidding on Earth is actually Steppenwolf, as well as the Dominators.
Okay.
And it gets into this huge bidding war where the Shepherd, who is a character in the kind of style of the Judeo-Christian god, so giant guy with a white flowing hair and beard and a white gown with a shepherd staff, who ends up outbidding everybody. And it gets real interesting into the kind of like, is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? And then like they kind of make Earth docile during the bidding service so that they don't revolt and kill each other while this is going on.
Mhm.
There's a lot of really interesting, in a very Morrison way, like the existential kind of crisis and problems that are going on and like questions that are happening. There's also a character that they show that looks very much like Thanos that's in the background. In like purple, who has gold armor and like a headpiece. I'm interested to hear what you said or what you heard.
I heard there was like a moment where Green Lantern like punches or beats the shit out of the guy, and like he like looks back, and he's like, it's like you guys all saw it. It was self-defense, and it was like kind of like the idea of
Oh yes, that's like the end of the issue. Yes,
and it's it's like the idea that you know
yes, it definitely
like
in this
these
book they're
like
much more
people
space cops.
yeah, so it's like the idea that people like make the analogy that Green Lantern is space cops, but like I feel like within the Jeff Johns era or the Robert Venditti era of Green Lantern, it's it's like they help people, but it's not, they don't really kind of do a whole lot with like the cop analogy, and I feel like Grant Morrison seems to be leaning really heavily into the cop analogy and doing like some like like tongue-in-cheek stuff about like the role of cops now and the
It's definitely,
idea.
I would say like it's kind of hard. So in the Jeff Johns kind of run, see, the whole thing is like the idea of the Green Lantern Corps is that they're basically this space paramilitary group that enforces these morals onto the sectors that they protect.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on your viewpoint, which I think is when their stories are the best, is whether or not that is good or bad. So they don't interfere in some things, they do interfere in others, and they have rules. And then like they are kind of also judge, jury, and executioner. So I did see like some people comparing this to like Judge Dredd. Like there is a very much of him taking this kind of space cop paramilitary force into this. They are in many ways similar to Judge Dredd, like judge, jury, executioner, or jailer. So I get like Morrison is kind of a great writer at kind of dancing and poking fun at things, especially like if you know his backstory and like how he grew up. So it is an interesting take on him, the art and like all the little things that he ties in, and also his love of bringing every aspect of a character's past like into the story, like what he did with Batman is apparently what he wanted to do with this book. So that is why like there's characters, I think I can't remember what it was like, I can't remember what character they showed in issue 2 that like was like Superstar or some other terrible thing that he brought in. But yeah, there is definitely like a huge kind of thing about it, because when that happens, he like beats the shit out of the God guy, and then like looks back and all the Green Lanterns are like, what the shit? Like he was not doing anything, and he's like, yeah, you saw it was self-defense. And it is interesting because it does go into like, so the planet's docile. The Shepherd also gives everyone on Earth superpowers, and Hal basically tells them, oh, like, you know, he's just doing this because this is a persona. This is not what he looks like. He just likes to do this because he wants to fatten the planet population up to eat them, because he's kind of like a Galactus type being. And they're like, well, it's not going to affect us. It's going to affect like 83 generations from now. So we're going to deal with it because, you know, we got superpowers now. And it's just like this disgust. It's an interesting kind of thing. And I get how people could see that like self-defense thing and be turned off or like have their eyebrows raised. But I do think it's just done really well. And it kind of has opened this, it kind of leaves off with like, this is like a first case leading into this kind of galactic black market thing. I don't know. I really like it. I think the art is gorgeous, and I'm a big Morrison fan, so.
Yeah, like I read the first issue, and I think that was like a book. I was like, man, this is like really good, but I think I'm gonna like wait for trade for all of it.
I can definitely see waiting for trade, because like it is one of those stories that's gonna be better reading the whole thing like start to finish than like waiting month to month. Yeah, I was trying to remember who did the art, but it is
Liam Sharp.
I just closed
What's
that.
that?
Reopen a tab. So close the.
Pull those tabs open. Find what you're looking for.
Yeah, Liam Sharp did it. So yeah, it is. I don't know. I really like the book. I think like tongue in cheek is like the perfect way to describe everything. Like, I don't know. It's ridiculous, and yeah. I don't know. I like the book a lot.
A comic book that's ridiculous? You don't say.
Yeah, but I think it also does like a very good job at poking at like the kind of like how other planets and species would think about Earth as kind of like an overall thing. It's interesting, and like the slave trading aspect of it is interesting. But I don't know. That's kind of all I had on that. I can start off by saying, actually, John, you have not talked about what you've read.
Yeah, I just want to talk about 2 books. I read Captain Marvel #1 by Kelly Thompson and Carmen Carnero, and it was fine. Like, it has like a lot of things I like the first couple pages I thought were like super cool, because it's basically a giant fight with Captain Marvel with like this Kraken like creature, and Jessica Drew is in it, and they're teaming up to fight this thing. And I love Jessica Drew. I love like their relationship, their friendship, and I'm really kind of excited to see them back together. Since, you know, the Spider-Woman series got canceled. The other thing I kind of like really liked about it was Hazmat is back, and she was like a character within Avengers Academy and Avengers Arena. I thought was like super cool, and I think those are like kind of like the 2 big pluses of the book. There was like a lot of other stuff that was just, it felt like super wordy and super truncated, where it was like, you know, catching you up to speed with like Captain Marvel in a way that kind of like I didn't feel it was like super pleasant. But I might check like a second issue and kind of like see like how it is. Because again, like I really like, these, a couple characters I haven't seen for a while. And the art's cool. It's like I saw her basically like talking to Tony Stark, and I was like, I don't care. Like, just like I just want to see like Captain Marvel hanging out, doing cool stuff. I don't necessarily need to see her like interacting with like the Avengers or interacting with Tony Stark. The other book I read was Young Justice.
I picked that up. I have not read it yet. How did you like it?
So like I haven't read really like any Bendis' stuff come DC. Like I've seen some of the stuff he's done with Superman. I'm not happy. Like it's like I like Jonathan Kent as a boy. Like I like Superman as the family man.
So
raising his son.
Is this the Superboy that's currently been Superboy, just in a different outfit?
No.
Or is this one of the? Okay.
No, this is Connor.
Okay.
Hello.
I think we did this last week too. The number of Superboys is very confusing.
So like like I'm basically just like doing like background where and then like he's doing like his Bendis verse stuff, and like I jumped off of Scarlet on Scarlet 2, and I was like I don't really care about Scarlet 3 now, like, and so I'm just like I know like people seem to be really hot in Bendis, but a lot of it just kind of seemed to hadn't been for me. And I'm kind of interested in Wonder Comics. Like, I feel like DC has not very well marketed itself to a teenage audience, considering that, they have like this really good cartoon, or like, line of cartoons, and they never really ever capitalized on it in any significant way. So, it's like, you know what, fine. Like, I'll give Young Justice a try. Like, I feel like maybe this book should be written by someone who's like skews like a little bit younger, but whatever. I like the team, and I thought it was like really fun. The team is like basically like the book is basically about Jenny Hex showing up in Metropolis and the House of Opal, which are like basically the villains of Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld, show up, who are led by Dark Opal. Attack Metropolis, and Jenny like meets up with Robin, and Jenny's like shooting people with her shotgun, and Robin's like, "That's not a gun, is it?" And she's like, "Yeah, it is, but like I could go find something." And she pulls out like a ray gun. And like throughout the book, you see like Cassie Sandsmark shows up. We have a new character named Teen Lantern, who I guess like hacked a Green Lantern ring, and so she's able to use it, which I think is a really cool idea. Impulse is there too. And there's like a lot of dialogue from Impulse that's like pretty questionable, in that like he like knows about Young Justice and how like Young Justice used to be a team. So it's like he knows about old stuff, because I mean Young Justice has not been a team in the New 52. And he knows like Connor Kent. Connor Kent's like dressed like old Superboy, like the Metropolis kid.
Yeah,
Superboy.
with the leather jacket.
Yeah. And then like the very last page reveal, or like one of the last page reveals, is Amethyst shows up, which is cool. I think that's a character that's like really fun, that like DC like tries to do stuff with it sometimes.
I enjoyed her New 52 run. I get why it didn't work, but like I do like the character. I feel like they can never find a fit for her,
because I think it's like they didn't like want to market towards teenagers or kids. It's like, because like every time they like try and put Amethyst within a book, it's like in that shitty god awful like weekly event that they did, or they do the Sword and Sorcery book that skews too old for like young readers. And like I don't envision like older fans to be reading Amethyst Princess of Gemworld, since that book got canceled in 8 issues. So like I'm really kind of excited to see what they do with, Amethyst and Gemworld and the House of Opal and Dark Opal and like all that kind of stuff. But there seems to be like kind of like a big mystery within the book that, because like every other page is like, where's Superman? Like, how come Superman's not showing up? Like, the denizens of Metropolis are like, Superman will save us, and he just like never shows up. So it's like obviously like there's like some big mystery of like where Superman is. I don't know if this book takes place like after Doomsday Clock
Oh
or
god,
during Doomsday Clock,
who
or if Wonder
knows?
Comics as a whole is like its own universe kind of thing.
I don't think there's any real continuity in DC, and since Doomsday got pushed back again, like it's almost like who cares about Doomsday Clock anymore?
Yeah. But I mean, like Wonder Comics is like, if this is the start of Wonder Comics, I think it's like a pretty fun start. I know that there is a Sam Humphries Dial H for Hero book with Joe Quinones that's coming out pretty soon.
I did see that. I've always loved that series.
There's also Wonder
Twins by Mark Russell and Stephen Byrne.
Then there's also
Naomi by Brian Michael Bendis, Dave Walker, and Jamal Campbell. And I'm pretty excited. I love Dave Walker, so I'll check out Naomi. And I like Mark Russell, so I'll check out Wonder Twins. And Sam Humphries and Joe Quinones is like a really cool team. So I'll probably check out Dial H. But yeah, since since DC canceled all of Young Animal, like I have basically about 4 or 5 books in my like rotation that could be replaced. And Young Justice I think is like a really good first start, so I'll probably check out the other books and see if they are just as good. But like I think this is like a really fun teen book, like not only for like older fans, but I think teenagers could really get into this book. And I think it's like the first time that DC's like done like a really good teenage superhero book in like, God, it has to be over a decade at this point, because I mean like all the New 52 Teen Titans was just capital G garbage. The Adam Glass Teen Titans currently is just the worst.
I was gonna say the Teen Titans is terrible. I actually kind of like Titans. The older team is not bad.
Like I'm talking like specifically like
the younger kids. I hate them. Actually, the only new character who I have not minded as Teen Titans book is, what is Lobo's daughter?
Crush.
She's not bad. I hate the other kid, the blue kid. He is the goddamn worst.
The guy that's not Gold Balls?
Yes, that guy. Which I didn't even know. I read the last issue because it was like supposed to be like, it looked like, oh, we're gonna do the origin of Lobo's daughter. I was like, oh, interesting. And her backstory was actually interesting. But then it also gave some backstory for the blue guy. I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that he's supposed to be Asian. I think he's like Japanese.
Okay.
I know. I was just like, oh, they're like, because they kind of in that issue show that they're like a multicultural team. I was like, I don't even know. And then he has like a dead sister that's not talking to him.
Weird.
I got to bring this up. Like all the costumes are really good. Like and I feel like there's like a thing where like Marvel just like gets it sometimes when they have like a new costume show up with a new hero. Like the Miles costume is great. Miss Marvel's costume is great. The new like Jessica Drew Spider-Woman costume is really good. It's just like they have like a team of just like really great like costume like
character designers. And
I think like sometimes when you read like DC sometimes and you just see a like a costume on a character, and you're like, I don't get like where you were like going with this, but it's like it's like Jenny Hex looks really cool.
I really like her introduction.
The Superboy costume is so good. Like,
well, it's like a retro throwback to like the early 2000s, late 90s Superboy.
It's like the Metropolis Kid outfit, but like it feels like a really good updated version of it.
And it's like the same with Impulse too, right? He has like a very that era Impulse costume.
Yeah, well, like the Impulse costume just looks like Impulse, and that's good. Because I mean, like that costume has always been like really good. Like Tim Drake looks like Robin. Like, and I was just like,
I was gonna
yes.
ask. Is like so that Robin is Tim Drake?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And Cassie looks good. Like, Amethyst looks great. Teen Lantern, like other than the cover, you haven't really seen her, but like she looks cool. Like, yeah, like this is like whoever like did the character designs like for this book are like should get like a bonus for it, because I think they like knocked it out of the park. Like Patrick Gleason does the art for the book, who I think is like kind of an underrated artist at DC. Like, he like worked on like a really bomb run on Green Lantern Corps that I feel like, if like all the cool like Green Lantern kids like were reading while everyone else was reading Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. And he's been doing stuff on Superman. He's kind of like a journeyman in DC, and like I think his art like fits super well on Young Justice right now. But yeah, I think this is a really cool book, and if you're into like teenage superhero stuff, or you like miss Cassie and Connor and Impulse and like classic Tim Drake within the book, like Young Justice I think is like a really good like kind of jumping on point.
I have some
Sounds
breaking
interesting.
news.
Okay.
Tom King on Twitter posted that, or in a tease for the next issue of Heroes in Justice or Heroes in Crisis, Shining Knight is gonna be in it.
Oh, Shining Knight.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's from the
Seven Soldiers.
Seven Soldiers. Is it the one that's like ambiguous?
I mean, like the last time we saw Shining Knight was in Demon Knights.
Yes, that wasn't a bad book.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad book until Robert Venditti took over.
Well, that's when it started the crossover with Justice League 3000, right? Which was
probably
also a terrible idea.
But it had the blue and gold connection.
Yes, it did have the blue and gold connection, but other than that, I didn't care because that was the last time we saw a Wonder Twins.
It's also like, oh, hey, great, Shining Knight. Like, what are you gonna like? Are you gonna kill him this issue? like anytime like a character shows up in Heroes in Crisis right now, I'm like, oh, like these are like the minutes until this character's deathbed.
Yeah, but Shining Knight really can't die. He's kind of immortal-ish.
Not immortal. Kind of immortal.
An example, the most recent or Heroes in Crisis thing or the most recent issue, I was worried that they were going to kill off either John Troy or Garth.
Oh, because of the tease that they left out? Literally, the tease was all that they were in. No, Donna had a little bit more. She's actually one of the reasons I like that Titans book, because she's now the new leader.
Well, also, there was Garth getting drunk because
all his friends are dead?
Yeah.
And one of them that isn't dead is basically dead?
Yeah. Because his name is
now Rick.
Formerly Dick.
One of the things I love about the Young Justice coming back, the TV show, is how many times they say Dick in episode 4. It's said like 15 times. Do we want to go through quickly what we are looking forward to next week?
I can.
Yep. Why don't you start us off, John, and we'll go in reverse order of how we went.
So Amazing Spider-Man number 13 by Nick Spencer, Ryan Ottley. That book's still rad. Don't really know what more I can say about it right now. It's in the middle of an arc with the Scorpion and J. Jonah Jameson. I might check out Ironheart number 2 by Eve Ewing, Kevin Lebronda, and Amy Redder. I read like a little bit of Ironheart number 1, and I thought it was like kind of cool, but I never finished it. I might pick up 1 and 2. Because I think that character is like pretty cool. And I kind of want to give it like a second try. And I'm also going to pick up issue 2 of Goddess Mode which is a new Vertigo comic from DC, and it's done by Zoe Quinn, and Robert Rodriguez is the artist. It is basically a cyberpunk magical girl series.
Very good.
I thought the first issue was like pretty fun, so I'm gonna give.
I've been liking pretty much everything that they've been putting out through the Vertigo. Like I don't like the Vertigo thing.
Yeah, I know that like people seem to be like really into American Carnage. I think it's like the name of the book.
I've heard of that, American Carnage.
I know that like Zoe Quinn though is like a really polarizing creator within nerd space, but I thought the first issue was like pretty cool, and so I'm gonna give like number 2 a try.
All right. Was there anything else, or was that?
No, it's a short week. Oh, I'll probably talk about it next week, but I'm gonna go see this Dragon Ball Super Broly movie.
Ooh,
hell yes.
I'm going to go see it. I couldn't hold back, and I went and found a copy of it online.
Yeah, like it's opening up.
Rad.
It's opening up in theaters here this week, so I'm gonna go see it. And I'm not like a Broly guy. Like I think like the Broly movie is like kind of fun, but also like kind of dumb. Like I think
watch the abridged, where it's like but he's so dumb.
Yeah, like I think the abridged version like kind of captures like the essence of the Broly movie, but I thought Battle of the Gods was I think like to me was the best of the Dragon Ball Z films that they've done so far, because I think
the animation is glorious in Battle of the Gods.
It's not even just the animation. Like I feel like a lot of like the past films. Even like the stuff that's like more popular
were trashy and like kind of throwaway. Battle of the Gods was like we got 2 new characters that were awesome.
Well, yeah, and it felt big, like it felt important, and like
Beerus himself just feels like in that movie just like a ungodly force of like there's just nothing that can win.
Yeah, and then on the flip side, like I thought Resurrection F wasn't very good. Like it's fun, but like I kind of like want a little bit more out of it. So like coming into Brawly, I think like Brawly is a very like kind of blank slate. I think you can do a whole lot with that character, and I'm really kind of excited to see how Dragon Ball Super like redoes Brawly in a way that feels like more authentic to the Dragon Ball Z lore.
I would say since I saw I saw it, that I thought I really liked it. I think all of the retconning they do to make it works for everything. Like it's all positive. And I like they actually make Brawly a person, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to just like a yelling machine without punches.
Does he yell Brawly is maximum?
No, he does not.
Does he at any point say that Brawly is the devil?
No, he does not. But he does talk.
That's cool. Like
yeah.
Like, and I mean, I think like, and I'm also like kind of behind on Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, but I think it's like kind of funny that Frieza has kind of become the new Vegeta, where
they
it's
definitely
like it's like dangerous liaisons at this point, where it's like they're kind of at like Goku and Vegeta. Or Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza like all kind of like they don't like each other, but like they have a sort of respect for one another. But like
that's a Dragon Ball trend that goes back to the original series. Like Tien was an enemy, Piccolo, and Vegeta.
Sure. I think it's like kind of funny though that like Frieza, like how many people has Frieza killed?
Almost all of them.
Worlds. And it's like kind of funny that he's like the new redemptive hero of the story.
He's more like he's not though. Like he's more of like the movie. I'm trying to like dance around it. he is. I get what you're saying, and they definitely like play with that idea. But I think what you get in Super is more like Frieza realizes that there are like things above his pay grade power wise, and like he has to kind of like bite the bullet and deal with the other two.
Yeah, like, and I'm not like super against Frieza becoming like a part of the Z crew. It's like
I don't think that's gonna happen.
My main fear is like I don't want Vegeta to feel second string to the Goku Frieza, dynamic, because now that Frieza is in the Vegeta position.
There's again, like the Abridged guys did like a good, if you watch like their thing on Super, there's a thing about like Goku and Vegeta in couples counseling, but it has to do with like Goku training with Hit.
Yeah. No,
and he's like, well, Piccolo didn't complain when you came around.
Yeah, and like I really like want to like get caught up on Super because like Hit looks cool. Like all the stuff I've heard about Hit is really cool. Like I really
Hit's
like
an awesome character.
I really like the reintroduction of Android 17. I've seen the Kaflua and Kale fight, and Kaflua is like really cool.
What is the other kid's name? That's the other Saiyan. The boy. Crap, I can't remember his name. Because him and Vegeta actually have like an awesome thing throughout the series.
I'm looking it up.
Because he's in Xenoverse 2. He's like one of the DLC characters. I can't remember his name. No, man. But they also like make reference. There's a lot of joking in Super where they make reference to everything. Like there's reference made to Vegeta's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Was it what is his shitty brother's name?
I mean, it doesn't really matter. He's dead.
No, his brother's not dead.
Alive. Yeah,
he's alive. Tartles, yeah. Because like when they meet the other character, it's like, oh, it's just like your brother because he's like short and tiny and skinny. I think he's like a Tartalus.
Yeah, like he has like a wife. He's like this, like
his wife is like a white blob.
Yeah, it's like really funny. Like that's honestly like the thing I really like about Super, and that like I feel like a lot of people like don't like, is that Super is basically like if Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z had a baby, it'd be Dragon Ball Super. And I love like all that like really fun, goofy, like funny character moment stuff of Dragon Ball. So like Super is like, oh hey, like this the natural like evolution of all that.
Oh yes, like the Omni God, I can't remember what his name is like such a Dragon Ball-esque character. There is a lot more comedy in it than there is in like Z.
Yeah, which is great. That's my lifeblood. I love it.
But I do like, I don't know, it was a very good movie. I actually cannot wait to see it like not in a shitty camera thing. But I just wanted to see the story, and the story I thought was really good. And if they have ideas to continue to do like TV show, like the TV show, because I think Super is supposed to be coming back as a show, and they have that other movie that they're doing. Back. They have another movie that they're doing too, because it's the other one with that watercolory art style.
Oh yeah! Now that you say it,
yeah, there's another movie coming out. While you're looking it up, I will say there's like a couple. This is also a thin week for me. The only big books I'm looking forward to is The Batman Who Laughs #2. And what was the other one? Hawkman is actually been a book I've really... Hawkman and Justice League Dark. So the Hawkman one, just to tell you, it's basically Hawkman has been jumping through time and space and meeting his past versions of himself.
Okay.
And in the next issue, he is meeting when he was a Kryptonian.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
God damn, Lou! I was gonna pick that one.
Okay, well, yeah, that book is awesome, and I love if Justice League Dark has been goddamn amazing. This is the team where Wonder Woman is on it, so it's Wonder Woman, Zatanna, Constantine, Man-Bat, Swamp Thing, and Detective Chimp. And this last run was last 3 issues were all about Detective Chimp and his backstory. kind of, and I can't remember where they left off, but I believe that they're going into something that heavily has to do with Man-Bat and Swamp Thing, because I think it has to do with the red. So that book has been real interesting. You can't find the Dragon Ball movie thing I was talking about?
No, like the last, like I'm looking at the Wikipedia and like the latest, or like the only the last listed Dragon Ball movie is Broly. But I know that you also like I know that they were like, oh, like there's like another like animation thing coming out.
Yeah, because there was like a different color, like a completely different coloration and like art style. Like the Broly movie is very much the same art style as Super.
Mm-hmm.
It's slightly different, but it's not like insanely different.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
not finding it right now.
yeah. Maybe it was Broly, and they like gave it like different art when it first came out. I don't know. I don't remember. We can move on. Connor, did you have any books that you're going to be picking up this coming week?
Yeah. Now I'm probably gonna pick up The Batman Who Laughs issue 2 because that sounds very good. I really enjoyed the first one, so might as well stick with it and see where it goes. I'm gonna pick up this new one I just found while I was wandering around Comixology. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I like the sounds of it. It deals with like Spider-Man's genuine neighbors and where he lives, which is just a really weird and down the rabbit hole kind of concept for a comic book that I'm very into. So I'm gonna probably pick that up and see where it goes from there. And I might even get the new. We were talking earlier, the top 10 comics. One of them is this Venom run by Donny Cates, and I might grab that too. It looks very good. I like Venom, or I like Agent Venom. So I haven't read any of the mainline Venom comics in anything Venom related in the last 30 years. So I'll be interested to see how this works and how it plays out.
Yeah, the last time I read Venom was when Rick Remender was writing it, but like I also liked it because it was Rick Remender. I'm not super familiar with Donny Cates. Like I know he's like really good. I know that like people like really like his run on like a couple other stuff. I just need to like again get like probably like Marvel Unlimited because there's like a bunch of books where I want to read them, but I don't want to own them.
Yeah. No, actually, there's another one here that is very much up my alley, and I don't know if you guys know about this, but Humble Bundle right now is doing a deal with Deadly Class. You can get the first 35 issues of Deadly Class for $15.
Yeah, and then like the 36 comes out tomorrow.
Oh shit! No way, really?
Yeah, you can read the entirety of Deadly Class and then get started on the newest issue tomorrow.
Oh fuck! Okay, actually, that's probably going to take precedence over this. Then I'll probably grab this before I grab those other books because I would really like to do that. I love the art of this already. I know nothing about Deadly Class, so I think it'll be interesting to just kind of jump into it blind. And yeah, that's it for me. What's Alan up to? Alan, what are you reading?
Well, obviously because I'm a millennial and I'm a male.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars: Age of the Republic.
A millennial.
Yeah.
Nice.
This could be a questionable purchase of the week because it's focusing on Mace Windu.
Okay.
And it's got him, Rex, and Jar Jar on the cover.
Okay. You had me with the first two.
The third is why I'm hesitant.
Why do we keep giving Jar Jar screen time?
Because Disney.
Fair enough.
But to be fair, in the Clone Wars TV series, he was not anywhere. He was nowhere near as annoying as he was in the films.
Yeah, because there were like 17 writers being like, okay, how do we make this character usable for an episode?
I'm sorry, I missed that. Which character from Star Wars are you talking about?
Jar Jar.
Oh God, no. Isn't there one of the books where he ends up being a beggar on the streets and people like?
Yes, I've read that book. He turns out to be a clown. Yes, Empire's End. He turns to be like a clown for orphans, and he's talking to this one kid who was like a child soldier, and the child soldier's like, yeah, this guy's just sad, and I don't want to be around him. So he leaves Jar Jar to his fate, running around like in a Naboo pool because nobody respects him on Naboo.
Yeah, man. Any book that's gonna have like Jar Jar in it, I'm gonna go far.
Yeah, because I think in the idea of that book is that the one that we were talking about is that everybody knows that he sold out like Naboo to the Empire.
Well, yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
And he kind of totally did.
Yeah, well, there's that one scene in episode 2 where he's like, I give all executive power to the Chancellor. And then that's kind of like one of the biggest sets off in the Star Wars lore, where they're like, well, this is where the Empire started now.
Yeah, it's where Padme says, like, democracy doesn't go out with, like...
and this is how democracy dies, with glorious applause.
Glorious applause.
Oh, God.
It's a really good quote.
Yeah. It's too real.
Yeah. Well,
Hey. And also...
life imitates art. Sorry, go on.
The next one that I'm really looking forward to, Fantastic Four issue number 6, which is the Herald of Doom beginning of Herald of Doom storyline. And I'll just tell you guys on it with this solicitation. Galactus has returned to devour the Earth, and only one man.
He's not Lightbringer anymore.
No, they in the Ultimates 2 they reversed it.
Yeah, I mean, I tried reading. I read the issue 1 of Fantastic Four, and it just, I don't know. I was like really bummed because I spent $6 on a book where nothing happened. I never read an issue since.
And I only bought the Stan Lee cover one.
Maybe this will tell you. The Fantastic Four aren't around because they're in battle against the new hero of the Latvian people, Victorious.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Nothing?
Nah, sorry, man.
Sorry.
And aside from the last one is Return of Wolverine number 4 or part 4.
Oh my God, that series is still going? God, at least like people know that Doomsday Clock is still going on, because it's like, oh God, they're pushing it back again. Like, I completely forgot Death of Wolverine was still coming out.
Jesus.
Because I mean, like, you know, it's like at the same time, it's like I don't care. Like you had Wolverine, she was great, and she had a great sidekick in Gabby. Why can't we just have like more years of her?
I'm mainly in it for the Declan Shelby art, and
oh, that's cool.
And Stephen McNevin is doing the cover.
Mm.
And the last time I actually got a chance to read like current Wolverine was Wolverine and the X-Men.
Wow, that's a long time ago. Like, I mean, that book is great. Like, that's yeah, like that and Uncanny X-Force were like a 1-2 punch of like the best X-Men books of this decade so far.
And just to go back to the Age of the Republic special. It's actually has it's a 3-part anthology sort of.
Mm-hmm.
The Mace Windu story is being written by Ethan Sachs.
Well, you perked my interest with Mace Windu.
There's an Asajj Ventress story by Jodie Hauser.
Okay.
Oh, Jodie Hauser's good.
Interesting. I do like Asajj.
Is this post Rebels?
No, this is prequel era.
I mean, okay. Okay.
And
so this is like after Clone Wars? Or during?
During.
Okay. Because there's a new show, the last season's coming out eventually soon, right?
Yeah.
To the Disney app?
Oh wait, no, my mistake. There's actually two. There's 2 more, or there's actually 4 stories. The Jar Jar story is actually being written by Chip Zdarsky.
Wait, the Jar Jar story is written by Chip Zdarsky?
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
I like his art.
Man. Oh fuck, dude. You know, like I know I just was like talking like shit about how I never want to read a Jar Jar Binks story. I kind of want to see what Chip Zdarsky writes for a Jar Jar Binks story.
It'll be interesting.
Like I think like if there's like a guy who's like super underrated writer right now, it's Chip Zdarsky. Like, and I kind of hope that like 2019 is like kind of his big coming out party.
Yeah, he's got the Daredevil book coming out soon.
He's got Daredevil. He's got Invaders that's coming out this week.
Okay.
And like, you know, it's like he did that Spider-Man book last year that I think was super cool. That, like, I don't think enough people were reading. And you know, he also was doing that Howard the Duck book that I think was really great.
More people should have read that.
So like, I'm kind of hoping he like comes up this year. But like, yeah. Man, like I don't know if I'd buy it, but if it showed up on Marvel Unlimited, I'd probably read it.
Yeah.
Or if I heard like enough people who were like, "You gotta read this," I'll go check it out.
Well, everything comes to Marvel Unlimited. It's like 6 months after it's released, I believe. It's free.
Yeah, so if you got it, it should be available in like July.
Yeah, like I'm missing all of 2018 for Miss Marvel because of that. Just because when I had Marvel Unlimited, 6 months and everything. Really annoying.
Mm-hmm.
John, if you want, I will buy the issue for you, so you don't have to spend anything on it.
I mean, like they all come with like a free digital code, right?
No, I mean, actually, yeah. Well, no. I'm talking about the digital, the digital ones too. Not
okay. If you buy me the digital copy of this Jar Jar Binks Chip Zdarsky book, I'll read it, and it would actually be the first Star Wars comic I read from Marvel. Because like I've been actually like wanting to read like Kieran Gillen's Darth Vader and the Dr. Aphra series, but like I just haven't bit the bullet to do so.
Oh, that was one of our news stories we didn't do, that she's leaving that book.
Yeah, she's out. Which is really unfortunate. My apologies. Because that's a huge shame, because he was the best part of those. As much as I kind of maligned the end of the Vader, or like the first run of Vader, because they've got 2 series running now. I like the second series
they just ended that series.
Well, I haven't read that, so all good. That means I have like 6 issues to read. Because the second series is much better. The first series, gorgeous, very well written. It's just the ending is a little predictable.
And ironically, when Jason Aaron left after doing like a year on the book, on the main Star Wars book, Gillen and LaRocca just jumped over to the main Star Wars book.
Yeah, well, they deserve it.
And the last story the last part, the fourth story in the special is Rex. Is it a Captain Rex story? But that's written by Mark Guggenheim.
Oh.
Ugh, black.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Guggenheim just writes like he wrote X-Men Gold. He wrote like some other shit. Like he's just like, you want a guy who's just super boilerplate, does nothing like really exceptional, but like is able to turn a book in on time. Like you get Mark Guggenheim.
Oh, okay.
He's also the guy that did like Arrow and
Arrow.
Yeah, he's like the main producer on all those shows.
Really?
He was also the story consultant, or he was like the consultant on the Elseworlds special.
I haven't seen the Elseworlds stuff.
Oh, the Elseworlds stuff was pretty good.
I don't know. Like I watched Arrow like season 1, and I just kind of felt like it was like Guggenheim comics. It's just like it's fine. It's
serviceable.
It's good background noise for when I'm doing like housework, but it's not like like super engaging. It's not like something I would like go out of my way to go and see.
Yeah. Now I'm only just looking at the time, and I'm realizing we're running real goddamn late.
Yeah, I know. I'm falling asleep, so can't wait.
Yeah, let's do some quick plugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick plugs, super fast.
Okay, I'll go first. Follow me on Twitter at SystemMonitor1. I tweet sometimes. Follow me on Instagram. I update my story at maybe Connor, and I write for the Lost Horror Games. Eventually, I will post things. Yeah, no, Alan, you should know at this point it's the meme. I'm never gonna get it right.
It's losthorror.wordpress.com.
There we go. Thank you. One of us has to be responsible, and it's not going to be me. And I am doing the Kingdom Hearts 3 review, so I'm killing myself researching the Kingdom Hearts lore. Which, let me tell you, it's batshit stupid.
We're already doing gangbusters for the month so far.
Yeah, no, I've seen you guys posting the numbers. It looks awesome.
We already hit. We've passed 300 views so far.
Fantastic. Awesome. That's good to hear. We're moving up in the world, so to speak.
You're actually part of you, Josh, and Emmett are killing it.
Well, that's because we take our time and we make sure that what we post is really good. Except I've never considered myself good, but regardless, I'm glad to know that I'm helping the site grow because I want to see it flourish and bloom into a beautiful video game website I can puke on with bad content. So that's it for me.
Jonathan?
Oh, sorry, what?
Are any of you covering stuff for the No More Heroes game that comes out this week?
Oh my god, I forgot that's a thing.
Thinking about that.
Yeah, like honestly, dog, bro, dude, No More Heroes is like top 5 favorite game for me of all time. I've been like waiting so bad for this new No More Heroes game. I've not looked like outside of that initial trailer. I've not looked up any like interviews, videos, screenshots, nothing. Like I want to go in this as cold as possible.
So why don't you write something and give it to Alan?
Yeah, do it.
Man, because I wasn't aware that they were taking like submissions, but yeah, like I might if they, I'll like probably play it on Friday, and I'll like let you know if you want anything for it. Or even I have
played through one. One is a blast. I haven't played through No More Heroes 2. So I'd be interested.
I played
one I think is like one of the best games for the Nintendo Wii.
Oh, dude, yeah, top 5 for sure.
And 2 I think is like pretty good. It loses like a lot of the majesty for being like a sequel, but like I still think it's like pretty great.
Okay. No, and aren't they doing a third one? Isn't that why they did this?
Travis Strikes Back is technically like a 2.5.
Okay.
Like from what I know, is basically it's like if this game does well, they'll do a sequel.
Sounds good.
And John, if you do want to write something, just send an email to lasaru@gmail.com.
Okay, I thought you were going to give out your personal, and I was like, let's dox it.
No.
Let's fucking
like
dox it.
I'll just like message you on like Facebook.
Okay.
All right. Do you have any plugs, John?
Not going to any conventions right now, because it's still like early in the year, but probably going to be making some in like February and March. But for right now, you can follow me at John FN Seiler. That's at John JOHN _FN Seiler SEILER. You can also find me at that same handle on Instagram. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. So me and Alan, this is one of our like 7 podcasts we do. So this comes out every Thursday. Every Tuesday, me and Alan on the same stream do Smallville Chronicles. Connor was on once, and we are closing in towards the end of season 2. And then
it's gonna be wild.
Yeah, and then we just finished. So last week was the episode with Christopher Reeve, and we also have every Thursday with maybe some extra stuff coming for Los Haro, a podcast with the 2 of us and Gary, where it's called Legion of Tune. You can look it up.
I thought it was Legion of Tunes.
Legion of Tunes with an S. Look it up, and we watch old and current cartoons and review and talk about them.
Yeah, what was your latest?
The one that is coming out this week would have been, oh god, it was the Hulk versus.
Oh yikes!
Oh yeah.
Big yikes!
Yeah, so that is coming out the same day.
Expect to hear us just try to.
Oh, we've grown for an hour.
We're just crawling through dirt, or mud, trying to we're in basic training.
Yeah, it is. We go off into so many tangents because we're just trying to find anything else to talk about.
Because how terrible the Thor one is.
I mean, like, hey man, I'm always still open for that.
Yes, we are definitely going to do a thing with Young Justice. I think we have talked about, so with little mini ones, because they're releasing 3 episodes every week. We'll be in touch, John. And then...
Wait, they're releasing 3 episodes every week?
Yes. And then they're going to
mini
take...
benches.
Once they hit 12, they're taking a break. And
13.
Then 13. And then they're going to come out with the other 13, like, at the other half of the year.
Oh, okay.
So they're up to 6 episodes now.
Why don't they just release it weekly instead of just doing?
I actually way prefer this. They're only half-hour episodes.
Yeah.
So I watch like 3 of them, so an hour and a half in one sitting, and then I wait till next week.
It seems like much more digestible then.
Also, I think they're doing this so they can have they had Titans end in December, then Young Justice. Then next month is Doom Patrol.
And then I think Swamp Thing is after that? Or is it Harley?
Doom Patrol?
Yes, Doom Patrol is a spin-off of Teen Titans.
Doom Patrol shows up in the Titans show?
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone except
Cyborg.
Cyborg and I forget, I'm blanking on Crazy something.
The girl, right?
Yeah.
The one girl is not in it. Yeah. That's why you've seen the trailer out for it. Yeah, because Doom Patrol comes out next month.
And Cyborg is being played by the actor who played Eggsy. Not Eggsy. Oh, I'm blanking.
Taron Eggert. Taron whatever. I can't remember his last name.
Not Eggsy.
Oh.
He was on Doctor Who during the Capaldi run.
I've only seen a few of the Capaldi Run episodes, so I'm sorry.
It was he.
All right. Well, Alan's looking that up, so make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on all of your podcast formats: YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, everything you can go to. wellshorror.wordpress.com. The Phantom Zone. Make sure you join the Phantom Zone page, Facebook page. All those links will be in the podcast. Follow us all on Twitter and Instagram. And join the conversation, because you never know. You might be in the podcast.
Yeah.
May just steal you and just have you just talk about it.
One day you might replace me.
Or in Lou's case, he replaced me.
I did not replace you.
Ooh, throwing shade, dude.
I just traveled from the future to go into the past to create the Phantom Zone network, and that way I can have 15 podcasts.
Fight. Kiss.
I like that. I like the reference.
Thank you. Other than that, do we have any last words?
I will say Alan has the show that we've talked about, which is the other Lost Horror show. You do Lost Horror Games, where you do a podcast.
Yeah, Connor has been on one episode, I believe.
No, I've never been on.
You haven't been on yet?
No, because every time you guys record, I'm always at work.
I think I've been on 3 times.
Yeah.
And it's always a 3-hour podcast, but I'm on for some reason.
Yeah. That's fair.
I just looked up. The actor who plays Cyborg was Riggsy on Doctor
Who. Riggsy, okay.
Oh, and he's probably the least famous person in that show.
He was actually in the first Purge.
Oh, but Brendan Fraser is in the show, and Alan Tudyk.
And Matt Bomer.
I'm so into that choice. All those choices. I don't know anything about Doom Patrol,
there's like one of the girls from one of the women from Orange is the New Black. I can't remember what her character is in that. And then there's like one of the other actresses has been in like a million things as well.
Elastigirl?
Yeah, Elastigirl. She's been in a million things. That's the redhead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was on. She played an idiot on
2.5 Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought she was from. Yeah.
But they got
Brendan Fraser voicing Robot Man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I hope Brendan Fraser has his comeback.
But you don't have to see his terrible hair in this, so.
Yeah, that's the bonus. He's wearing a suit.
They also got Timothy Dalton as
I forgot
to play Chief.
God damn, they have a James Bond. All right.
And they have Rassilon himself.
All right. Well, I am falling asleep. It is almost 1 o'clock in the morning. So we will catch you guys on the next episode. Oh.
Fuck me. Thank you. That was awesome. Yep, you're good.
That's staying in. Do you want to give your sign out, Connor, or are you gone?
No, it's good. I hope that stays in.
Honestly,
I
really do.
I'm gonna actually go find it and increase the volume.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. I'll let him know he's featuring.
Okay, so we'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
Connor,
yeah, and remember, reality is an illusion. Universe is a hologram. Buy gold, buy.
Buy gold.
I love you.
Yeah, we're all waiting for you to say it, Connor.
I love you. I do.